When we calculate net worth, we use a financial statement called the balance sheet. And what the balance sheet does is it compares assets to liabilities. If our assets are greater than our liabilities, we are said to have a positive net worth. If our assets are less than our liabilities, we are said to have a negative net worth. Here we have an example of a balance sheet. The top half of the balance sheet, as you see here, contains all of our assets. These are the things of value that we have. The bottom half contains all of our liabilities. These are things that we might owe. They are debts. So on our assets, we see we have a savings bond valued at $150, a savings account with $750 in it, a DVD collection valued at $200, and a car from 1999 that's worth about $3,500. Probably isn't even worth that much. And when we add them all together, we see that our total assets are $4,600. When we look at our liabilities, we see we have money that we owe our mother in the amount of $250, a balance on our car loan in the amount of $1,500, and the balance on our prom dress, which is $200. When we add all those up, we see that we have a total liabilities of $1,950. Based on the previous slide, where we see that if our assets are greater than our liabilities, we have a positive net worth. Looking at this balance sheet, our assets are greater than our liabilities, so we do have a positive net worth. Calculating net worth is very simple. We take our total assets and subtract our total liabilities. So when we take the total assets of $4,600 and subtract the total liabilities of $1,950, we see that we have a positive net worth of $2,650. So let's take a few minutes and calculate net worth together. In order to complete this, you're going to have the file Guided Net Worth open. So what we see here is some information. We're going to assume that we have these items and their values. In order to get started, we need to classify them as an asset or a liability. So what we're going to do is, reading across the table, we are going to fill in the classification column if it's an asset or a liability. So a home is $250,000, and that is an asset. Mortgage is money that we owe on our home, so that is going to be a liability. You should be filling this in with me as I go along. Student loans are debts, so they are also liabilities. The car is something of value we have, so that is an asset. Our credit cards are loans, so that is a liability. A 401k is a special type of savings account for retirement, so that is an asset. And finally, our savings account is also a value to us, so that is an asset. Now we take that information from the previous slide and plug it into our balance sheet to create a comparison of assets to liabilities. So the first one we have is our home that is valued at $250,000. We have our car valued at $7,000. A 401k at $25,000. And lastly, our savings at $5,000. So we have a total in assets of $287,000. Now for liabilities, we have credit cards with a value of $1,000. Student loans, a value of $20,000. And lastly, our mortgage, which has a balance of $150,000. Our total liabilities are going to be $171,000. So finally, to calculate net worth, we take our total assets, which are $287,000, and our total liabilities, which are $171,000, and we subtract them from each other. And when we do that, we see we have a net worth of $116,000.